Hi, guys. This is Dr. Eniola here. I'm a board certified internal medicine physician, student mentor, and coach, and welcome to Be That Girl. Today, we're talking about Am I a Pick Me? So, let me do a recap of Summer House drama. Right now, it's like our Super Bowl or World Cup just happened. So, I don't watch Summer House. That's my disclaimer, right? But I love everybody knows that I'm a reality TV addict and I follow all the blogs and I love Bravo and I love Real Housewives. I'm trying to wean myself off it, but I love it. That's what I do to relax. There are three people that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about Ciara West. Some people call him Midwest or West TD. We are a Christian program. We won't call him that. And Amanda. So Ciara and West had something going on, throughout the seasons of Summer House. Kind of like they hooked up, dated briefly, broke up, and he was a guy that she was hung off on. That type of guy that you don't really get over from, and you kind of still like, and still, guys still move around the same circles. Um, so that's Ciara and West. Ciara and West, right? So Amanda was Ciara's best friend. I use was for a reason. And they were very close, and Ciara used to encourage her. And Amanda was married to somebody called Kyle, who was also West's friend. I wouldn't say they were best friends. It seems like they were very cool guys. They enjoyed each other. They liked each other. They were actually friends, actually. Maybe not best, but they were friends. And next thing, there are rumors going around. So Kyle and Amanda were going through kind of like a breakup, or they're trying to work on their marriage and they decided to break up type of thing. So we have these two couples. The next thing, people are hearing rumors that, West and Amanda are dating, and it was kind of devastating to Ciara because she thought, okay, my best friend wouldn't do that and date somebody that is my ex. I don't necessarily think dating somebody's ex is wrong. Like, you could have an ex, this is my personal opinion, this is not Jesus talk, but you could have an ex you dated in high school and you haven't seen each other in a while. I mean, somebody else dates him that's your friend. I don't know, it's sometimes against girl code, but that's kind of okay. But somebody that you know that your friend is still hung up on, that's the kind of thing that is a little bit difficult, right? It's not the whole ex thing. I know even for girl code, you ain't supposed to do that, okay? You ain't even supposed to do that. But like, she knew her friend is still hung up on this guy. It's the type of guy that if he said, oh, I want to restart our relationship, Ciara would have said yes. So Wes and Amanda started dating, and it caused a huge drama, ratings, great ratings for Bravo and Peacock, I might say, because I started watching the show because of that, because it was very, very huge. Everybody was talking about it. Everybody had opinions. Everybody literally hates Amanda, even Rihanna. Rihanna stopped following her, and it's all team Ciara, including me. So I was very intrigued, right? Sometimes I have so much time online. I'm chronically online sometimes. I need to stop. And I was like, okay, let me look into this Amanda girl. Like, why would she do something like this? Because I was just taken aback for the lack of consideration for her friend. She said she fell in love. Girl, please, okay? She said he made her feel good. Her marriage was so miserable. As you guys are seeing all these excuses I'm giving, this girl has nothing she has said. It's like, oh, I take personal responsibility. You see, it's always like, somebody did this. A lot of her marriage with Kyle wasn't the best. He did many not so great things, and she was always playing the victim. So she's kind of used to that role. Like, oh, I was so dealing with Kyle and I wasn't feeling so good. And West made me, I have to stop myself from saying West TD. Midwest, we'll use Midwest. Midwest made me feel so good, right? So never taking responsibility. So I went down the rabbit hole in terms of like thinking about her, thinking about myself and relationships I've been. And I'm like, oh my God, am I Amanda? Was I a pick me? Am I a pick me? So let's get into it, right? First, I'll say this is a disclaimer, okay? We don't know Amanda. We're a Christian program, and we're not going to put anybody down. But this is just to say, this Amanda could be you. Honestly, I'm even Amanda. I'm using Amanda, but I'm talking to about myself and thinking about how I was in romantic relationships until now. So she had no identity outside of who she was dating, right? There's really nothing going on in her life. So when you haven't built yourself, when you have somebody that you kind of attach yourself with and you haven't built yourself is always a recipe for disaster, because a lack of identity will make you take on the identity of whoever you're with, because especially if they're a stronger personality, because you don't know yourself, you don't know what you want, you don't have anything going for you. You may have anything going for you, but you lack self-love, right? So I thought about Amanda, I thought about myself. Why was I always going from relationship? Why were these relationships so important to me? Why is it that if this person wants to break up with me, my life or my world is over? It's because you lack a sense of self, because I lacked a sense of self, because Amanda lacked a sense of self. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know who God made me to be. And I didn't know who I was, period. So those are the two things that you have to know. You have to know who you are in God. So it gives you that sense of self and that sense of strength and that sense of worthiness that, okay, Christ died for me. I'm worth something, I'm worth something. And then that sense of identity of like, you know what, this is the type of person I am. This is the type of person, what I want in my life. This is what I'm worth. I'm not worth half a guy. That type of thought process, I never sat down to think about it. So when somebody comes into your life, it's not kind of like, oh, okay, somebody sees I'm worthy. Okay, that's the type of thought process you have. So a lack of self-worth will make you enter relationships like that. And I see that. I saw that in her. I also saw that in myself. And then as I was analyzing and following the situation, I realized a lot of us are similarly in that. And at least, I mean, she's 35. So it's kind of, you think that with age, she would have matured. But that's another mistake that we make, right? We think that just because we're getting older, we're maturing. No, you're not. If you're not doing the intentional work of working on yourself, then you're not going to age. And then somebody said something, one of the cast members called me and said something like, you shouldn't drop from one relationship to another. She literally went from her marriage and then she went to be with West, like without any break. So if you're doing this right, what are you running away from? What is so bad about yourself that you cannot sit with yourself and say, you know what, I'm good enough. I can take myself to dinner. I can have fun by myself, even with my friends. Sometimes when you're just jumping from those relationships, which I used to do, or just, well, if there was a man there, but if you're just always wanting to be with somebody, why? Why can't you be alone? You're good enough for yourself. So not having that understanding that you're good enough for yourself. So nature abhors vacuum. If there's nothing inside of you, you're going to go to the strongest influence around you, right? If you don't intentionally put Christ inside of you, if you don't intentionally put words of affirmation inside of you, if you don't intentionally tell yourself words of affirmation and give yourself confidence, you are going to be a vacuum, and then you're going to take whatever form of anybody comes around you is. And I don't know if you guys remember, this is probably not like a Gen Z thing. I don't know if it's even millennial. It's kind of old. There's a movie called Runaway Bride by Julia Roberts and Richard Gere. I think that's their second movie that they did together, right? And in this movie, right, she always runs away. She's had like, I know she had a lot of weddings, right? Like 7 or 8 or 9. Or she married a lot of guys. Actually, so it was Runaway Bride. She never married them. She would get in front of she would do whole thing. They would plan the wedding and then she would not show up or she'll run away. So Runaway Bride, right? So, in the movie, there's a part where like, Richard Gere was a journalist and he came and he found out like, okay, why is she doing all this? He was writing a story about it. And then as he went to kind of talk to all her exes, he found out like, oh, this ex, she says she likes scrambled eggs. With this ex, she likes this other type of eggs. With this ex, she likes sunny side up. So she doesn't really know what type of eggs she likes. She just likes what her partner likes. And that it was a metaphor of somebody not knowing themselves and just taking the form of their partner. So at the end of that movie, eventually she got married, but at the end of that movie, she had to basically find out for herself. There was a scene where she kind of cooked all types of eggs, if I remember correctly, and she kind of like found out, what type of eggs do I actually like before I enter into a relationship with somebody? She obviously is a romantic movie. She married Richard Gere at the end, but before she did run away. She left him. He wanted to marry her, and she left him also at the altar. But obviously, they made up afterwards. So, but the thing is that before she did that, she actually found out who she was. She found out, what type of eggs do I like? So that is a metaphor. What type of eggs do you like? Before you enter that relationship with somebody, what type of eggs do you like? Sometimes we make everything spiritual, but this is not even a spiritual thing. This is a you thing. What type of eggs do you like before you go out with that guy and make your life about him? Because we've always known, and we've been that girl. I've been that girl. I ain't gonna lie. And we know that girl. I ain't that girl no more in Jesus' name. Who drops everything and changes everything about herself. Immediately she starts dating somebody. And when that one serves her breakfast, it is you that will help her out of that. But hopefully there'll be no breakfast in the mighty name of Jesus. So you have to have something out of, what is your identity out of a man, out of a relationship, out of career, out of that. If they take that out of your life, what do I have? Ask yourself that question. If you take my relationship out, if you take my career out, if you take schooling out, if you take everything, the labels that you have, then what do you stand for? I mean, I know what I stand for. I stand for Christ, right? Number one. Number two, I stand for mentoring you guys. There are other things that I have in my life that are my identity and purpose, but I know that I love Christ. I stand for Christ. So what are you when all of these things are out of your life? At the end of the day, the truth is everybody needs a healthy dose of self-love, like a high dose of self-love. You have to love yourself. Christ cannot even do that for you. First, Christ loved you and empowers you to love yourself. When you love yourself, you choose yourself. You are sure about yourself. You are confident about yourself. You know what type of eggs you like. Therefore, you know who you should be with, when you should be with that person. Things are clearer. There's confidence. There's nothing like liking yourself. And most times, a lot of us don't like ourselves. I didn't realize that until the much, much later in life, until my 30s. I said, I don't think I like myself. That was the reason for being a pick-me, like going from relationship to another, because you don't really like yourself. You can't sit with yourself. So it's okay to be alone. It's okay to sit with yourself. It's okay to know what type of eggs you like before you enter that relationship. So, you guys, I've had a whole spiel today. I hope like you got something out of it. I really, really hope that you learn that you're worth the love that you give yourself. So buy yourself some flowers, girl. And thank you for watching. And remember, you're that girl.